Kamal Chandwani from Computer Science and Engineering Department. Welcome Abhi Saxena and Rama Agrawal, founder and CEO GoToFastLane USA, in this webinar on cloud concepts and data analytics. I welcome you, sir and ma'am. Today's webinar topic is cloud concept PaaS. So I request Abhi Saxena, sir and ma'am, to please proceed for the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Kamal.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining this PaaS session. As you guys have already attended a couple of sessions earlier. And first of all, I would like to thank you, a big thank you for liking our YouTube channel. And as I've already told Kamal, we got 2,500 hits within like 3 days. So today's session is more about PaaS. So in the past, businesses started by building and developing their own apps, and they demand different servers. And so they need to focus more on the business part of it instead of mundane tasks like managing the servers and other stuff. So that's where PaaS came into the picture. PaaS is basically for developing your apps. It's for developing developer community, database, application, so that you can only focus on business and your administrator task. You should not worry about the administrator task. With this note, I will pass it on to Rama Goyal, so that she can start and give you the idea about how PaaS works. Thank you, Rama.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, Mrs. Kamal. So students, welcome to today's session, wherein we'll talk about platform as a service in continuation of our series on the cloud concepts webinar, where we talked about software as a service in the last session. Today, we'll talk about platform as a service, and in the subsequent session, we'll talk about infrastructure as a service. As all of you remember, these are the 3 service models of cloud. So the agenda that we'll go through today will include the introduction, the basics of PaaS, the business drivers that force a PaaS adoption, and the capabilities of modern PaaS. Okay, we'll end the session with a quick demonstration of how to follow GoToFastLane site, and if you have any questions. This is a quick introduction of myself. BITS Pilani alumni. I've been working in the IT industry for about 16 years now. Yeah, speaking at several conferences and trainer for corporate clients as well as individuals, students like yourself. I've written and co-authored a few books. One of my books was actually selected by CNN, Forbes and Inc. Book Authority and awarded the best book available as one best ebooks available on FTP Solutions. I'm founder and director of GoToFastLane CA. And as part of this organization, what we do is we guide and train students like you who are available, who are almost getting available in the market. Try to polish your skills, build on what Dr. Sanjay, Dr. Ajay, Mrs. Kamal, and other teachers are teaching you, right? And build on those skills and put an IT skill and IT readiness layer on top of those curriculum kind of knowledge, okay? So currently for this year, I'm trying to build teams for HCM Cloud, data analytics, and cloud hub stores, and hence you are here. My co-host and co-speaker and co-author for some of the books is Abhi Saxena, who is a YCCI Nagpur, YCCE Nagpur alumni and has been working with Oracle Corporation for more than 15 years, total IT experience of more than 23 years, and very profound knowledge of Oracle technologies and cloud technologies. So he will be helping us through the session on the details of platform as a service, as he did in our previous sessions. Okay. So let's deep dive into PaaS basics, and the 3 service models that we have been talking about so far are IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. And over here, we will be talking about PaaS. When we looked at PaaS, we understood that platform as a service is where you have a split responsibility between yourself and the customer, right? So you are the customer, then the service provider, between a service provider and a service consumer, right? So In SaaS, what we looked at was everything was taken care by the service provider, right? Be it application, be it data, be it virtualization, be it networking, data center, everything was owned by the service provider. And you as a consumer of Gmail was only consuming the applications. Whereas in PaaS, service provider will take care of everything under the layer, but you will be owning the application and data of the PaaS applications, right? So PaaS is the most confusing concept in cloud service models. You will be very easily able to understand what is infrastructure as a service because all of you understand what is infrastructure. Infrastructure is a network, storage, data centers, servers, right? But when it comes to PaaS, it is slightly more difficult to understand what PaaS is. Okay. So anytime you have a question, please record that question. So I will give some ample amount of time towards the end of the session for the questions. Understanding that PaaS is slightly confusing. Okay. So let's start with the definition of PaaS, right? So platform as a service is a model to deliver, okay? It's a model to deliver the infrastructure and middleware integration components to enable system administrators, IT developers to integrate, build, deploy applications, right? So it is like a IDK, right? It is like a development platform to build applications. So everything under it, right, which is infrastructure, and everything on this layer is combined called PaaS. Okay. So what it does is, now in case of PaaS, let's take examples of, all of you must have heard of the word SDK. Anybody knows what is the full form of SDK? Please unmute yourself and tell us the answer. If you know what is SDK. Do you know any development environments?
Yeah, I think Anuradha has replied back, software development kit.
Yes, right. So SDK, software development kit. So what SDK does, right? Anirudh, so what SDK does is SDK provides you a platform, right? It provides you capabilities to build applications. Now, right now you must be doing, you might be doing a lot of coding, right? So you use a VI editor for coding in Linux, right? So that VI editor is your PaaS, right? But it's on-prem PaaS. Okay, just start consuming the examples of PaaS, and by the time we end the session, you will have a very good idea, right? That VI editor that you use is a PaaS, right? So if you're trying to build any Java application, so you use a Java editor, or Abhishek, give me some Java editor names. I haven't worked on Java enough.
Right, like Java developer kits, you can use.
Okay, JDK kits.
Developers. Yeah, SQL
Okay.
developer.
Yeah, SQL developers, very good example, right? SQL developer, Oracle SQL developer, right? Or you use Toad, right? So, or you use a Java developer, Oracle J developer, right? So all those are examples of places where you write a piece of code, right? You write, private static main, void main Java, right? So when you write this, you write in a text pad, right? That text editor is an example of a PaaS, right? So what that does is it goes ahead and provides you a platform and inbuilt APIs which checks for the syntax of your coding, right? So that means it has an inbuilt software development support for you to consume an application framework and build on it, right? So that is what is PaaS. So let's read the definition one more time now. So PaaS is a model to deliver the infrastructure and middleware components. Now, what does a Java application or an Oracle J developer or a SQL developer does, right? So it provides you a way to connect two heterogeneous systems, right? And by the time we go further, you will understand it more. Middleware components is very important here, okay? As the name suggests, middleware is something which is in the middle of two things, right? And over here, two things are two heterogeneous systems, which are then connected, right? By a middleware component, which is part of platform as a service, that is PaaS, okay? So using that PaaS, using that VI framework, using that VI editor or admin console, right? You must be having your data center labs, right? Your network labs, engineering labs, and you will have an admin, right? You will go to the sir and say, my login is not working. He will go into a console and do something and see, oh yeah, you were browsing too late. You were browsing on wrong stuff. That's why I blocked your account, right? So all this information is being provided via the console to the security administrator by a PaaS framework, okay? So PaaS, now I give you an example of security. PaaS is also a system or a framework that lets you build applications in a secure manner. Okay, and you can build any kind of applications. You can build web applications or you can build mobile applications, right? So when you build a mobile application, you're trying to embed the security. Okay, what is the difference between mobile application and a web application? Anybody? Understanding these core concepts is very important for you to know and then scale up PaaS. Because next session, I'm going to conduct a quiz and ask you, okay, I'm going to give you examples and ask you to identify whether it's an example of SaaS or a PaaS or an IaaS. So tell me the difference between mobile and web applications. No idea? Okay, so Abhishek, let's park this question. When we do our demo session on cloud, let's tell the difference between web and mobile hosting. Okay, so in nutshell over here, what you should know is the code behind a web application and a mobile application can be the same, right? Because in a browser, you can open a browser on a mobile phone and open that application. But if you're developing a true mobile application, that is a web app to be hosted on a mobile server like an Android or iOS, the development framework between the two is totally different. Okay, a web app development framework is totally different from MADF. Okay. So PaaS provides all the fundamental benefits of cloud computing, from transparent pricing to turnkey provisioning of on-demand scalability and disaster recovery. Now, important term in this sentence is disaster recovery and turnkey provisioning. Okay. So what is disaster recovery? We talked about disaster recovery in the last session. Any idea? Anybody remembers disaster recovery? Anybody remembers disaster recovery? I see Harshad asking a question, does VS Code come under PaaS? Harshad, these are the questions that I'm going to come back and ask you. So please don't rush through the session, right? So anybody who understands what is disaster recovery? Okay, no problem. So let's talk about disaster recovery. So disaster recovery is an ability to recover a production site into an alternate site. Okay. For example, your data center, your engineering lab is hosted at, say, I don't know a lot about your college, so pardon my knowledge there, but say, for example, your engineering lab is hosted in Block A. Okay, Block A is in the south end of the campus. Okay, so no problem, it's working fine, but that's your production site, right? What if the whole engineering lab goes down out of power, right? The whole site goes out of power. That means the students cannot take the exams, cannot do engineering lab courses until the power comes back, right? So what your administrators have done, they have put a UPS, a backup for the data center. As soon as the power goes, there's a small flick that you see and your computers shut down and they suddenly boot back up, right? Because there's a power comes back. So that UPS is like a backup, right? Backup to restore power. In case of big organizations, that backup, there are multiple terms, is backup and recovery and disaster recovery. So in what happens in big organizations, right? So their data center is not only at risk because of power outage, it is also at risk because of other natural calamities. Right? What if there is a flood and the whole data center goes down? For $1 billion company, right? Let's take an example of Amazon or a Walmart, right? Or an Oracle, the data center goes down. All the customers who are running their critical business operations and connecting to that data center will also not operate. Think about the repercussions and the effect of this calamity, be it power outage, be it a flood, earthquake, anything can happen, right? So what will Oracle end up being? End up being sued for millions and millions of dollars of loss, right? So what organizations like this will do is they will create a disaster recovery site, that is recover from a disaster. So an alternate site will be created. An alternate site will be created which is geographically distant. So the chances of an earthquake happening in Delhi and earthquake happening in Kerala at the same time are very low, right? Why? Because they are on the different tectonic belts, right? So because they are on different tectonic belts, if the tectonic belts in the Himalayan region moves, there is no way that the great southern Indian tectonic belt can move, right? And if at the same time, if there's a tsunami that happens in Indian Ocean, there's very little chance that there will be a rain or a tsunami, or tsunami cannot happen in Delhi, but an earthquake happening in Delhi, right? So they're geographically distant, right? So that is what PaaS providers do. So they provide you not only a framework to build your applications, but also a way for you to live and develop peacefully, because they are providing you disaster recovery as part of PaaS solutions. Okay. And we'll talk a lot more about disaster recovery in an IAS class, because disaster recovery is exactly an alternate to the primary data center, right? Which is part of infrastructure as a service. Okay. Turnkey provisioning to on-demand scalability. Now, somebody in this class has to be able to remember the example that I gave of scalability and elasticity. I know somebody is liking some music a lot, but if you can put yourself on mute, appreciate it. Bipul. Thank you, Bipul. Okay, who remembers the example for scalability and elasticity? No? Okay. See, my problem is that if the students, if you guys are not responding, I will only give you the information that I want to give, right? Then it's only benefiting 50%. So please make notes from the session. Otherwise, you are only at loss. I'm still getting my sense of fulfillment by doing what I want to do. But if you're not getting, it is a big loss for you, right? And we want to make it a win-win deal for both of us, right? So turnkey provisioning to on-demand scalability, right? It means that not only for SaaS applications, when we talked about licensing, similar scenario of fitting more people into a room and building a room for the 50 people capacity is possible in a PaaS application also. Okay. All right, moving on to the next one. PaaS offers ready-to-use programming components that allows developers to build new capabilities, right? So into their applications. Now we give an example of VI editor, we give an example of Java editors, SQL developer. So what they do is those editors actually let you validate, right? They let you do a syntactical check automatically as you write. You must have used those VI editors for C++ coding. What they do is as soon as you don't put a semicolon, it will not compile the program. It will say, oh, there's a syntactical error, right? All of you understand compile time errors and runtime errors, right? So it will give you compile time errors. So that compile time errors that you get are a capability of a PaaS framework. Okay, and this is a feature that is not only for building small or big C++ or an OOP application, but is applicable to bigger organizations who have their whole business running as a PaaS business, right? And we'll come to some examples of PaaS. Some very good examples of PaaS are Oracle middleware solutions. Okay. Let's go to the next slide. Very quick details of PaaS, very much in line with SaaS solutions, right? We talked about SaaS becoming a big thing in market in 2004, right? In early 2000s. And at the same time, and a little later was when PaaS became more popular. So people understood that SaaS is good, but maybe I want to do the development myself, right? So when SaaS became popular with Salesforce, the growing demand in the market was that I don't want to use Salesforce UI. I want to build my own .NET application on a PaaS, right? You give me the framework. I want to write the code as I like it. I don't like Salesforce UI. Now, what do? So this gave an opportunity to providers to provide a platform to develop, okay? The other thing that PaaS did was, software as a service did was, now when software as a service came, people found it very valuable, right? But can it replace everything that you have in IT so far? No. So what do I need? So I need to connect the new SaaS solutions with my existing applications on-prem, right? So when you have to connect the two applications, right, that's where middleware comes into picture. And middleware cloud services got standardized over the period of time as PaaS services. Okay. And over the period of time, several use cases have evolved, right, to increase lightweight production loads. They actually are also able to cater to an enterprise middleware solution where two organizations are talking to each other. For example, Amazon, it's talking to Oracle. I have one application from Salesforce, other from Workday, two heterogeneous systems, but connected via an employee connection. Both are talking to each other, right? So all that ability is given to you by PaaS applications. Okay. Some of the examples of PaaS, we already talked about application development, being able to provide rich business solutions, enhancing the productivity of development lifecycle, right? API catalog. Now, what is API catalog? Does anybody understand what is an API catalog? What is the meaning of a catalog? Anybody can chat or unmute themselves. I'm sure all of you know what catalog is. You go to your library, right? So you have a catalog of books, right? And you look at the catalog, you look at, how do you look through a dictionary? Similar way you look through a catalog in library, and then you go to that shelf and get that book, right? And then check out that book at the registrar's office. Same way in API catalogs, right? So you have a list of interfaces provided to you, which can be used by the application, right? So application programming interfaces are provided to you by a PaaS framework, which you can leverage to say, okay, fine, I want to check, is butterfly, right? If this can be your procedure in Java program, right? Or is not butterfly, right? So what is your code doing? Your code is only checking if the bird or if the mammal has 4 little legs, have 2 wings, is of the color this, has this, lives in a beehive, then yes, it's a, lives in a beehive, is a butterfly, something like that, right? So those kind of APIs which do which have pre-made security checks or error checks are called APIs, and all of you use APIs for your coding. Okay. Next PaaS examples are integration solutions, chatbots, AI, machine learning, data management, IoT applications, and content management, and a lot more applications, a lot more examples that we can take a look at. Okay. Next, this is a very important slide, and I'm kind of very disappointed by the interest levels of this group. So today, I don't know, maybe Sunday is not a good day to do the classes, Abhishek.
Yeah.
So we did it on Sunday, giving respect to the fact that yesterday was Independence Day for India, right? And people have plans with the family. So, so business drivers for PaaS adoption, right? So why would some organization would want to go to a PaaS, right? predictable and consistent performance that ensures business continuity. The same concept that we studied in SaaS is here in PaaS as well, right? You are able to predict how many licenses are needed for a middleware framework, how many developer licenses are needed for me, right? Which will allow you to commit and make commitments to your SLAs, okay? Example that I gave you of your engineering lab, right? To be truly effective, both SaaS and IaaS layers must work together. Let's go back to your engineering lab example. Scalability and fault tolerance without system shutdown and restart should still be able to recover from a power outage, right? So if there are 20 computers in your lab and there are 40 students waiting, there is no way that your engineering teacher can pull favors to get all the 40 students working together, right? Only way it is possible is by sharing the tenant, correct? Only way it is possible is if there are two people using one single computer, that is only, right? Mamta, if you can please mute yourself. Okay, thank you. Scalability and fault tolerance without system shutdown and restart, right? So in this, what happened is that your PaaS application and your IaaS application layer worked together, right? So data center has gone down. Okay, yeah, see, I lose my thought when there is interruptions like this. So we are talking about business drivers of PaaS and IaaS working together, where your engineering lab is not able to scale up, right? But in a PaaS world, what will happen is if you need 40 people to work in the engineering lab, your engineering teacher will be able to scale up as needed. Now, if your engineering teacher knows that, yeah, this is a season where this month students are going to practice a lot. So, okay, 20 is very less. At a time, maybe 50 students need to practice. He is going to increase up the capacity, right? He's going to scale up the solution. At the same time, he's also going to ensure that he installs 2 backup UPS. If UPS 1 fails, there is at least UPS 2, so that there is an ability to tolerate the fault and recover from it without impact to the students, right? So those are some of the examples of PaaS, okay? Next is security. Security is very important, right? Now, let me give you an example. There are always mischievous students and especially when it comes to computer labs, right? If you don't have a personal computer, you go to a computer lab to do. Now, computer labs are meant to do homework. They're meant to do assignments. But what many students or some mischievous students will do is they will go ahead and browse YouTube videos, right? And that also watch movies in the engineering lab. So what the system administrator has done in most of the engineering labs is you cannot access certain sites in an engineering lab, correct? And it also documents who has logged in into the engineering lab computer at what time and what was the activity done by that computer, right? So if I do a finger and my ID number, I will be able to enter into my session and do activities. Say in that activity, I typed an email, I checked my emails, then I did my assignment, and then I say log out, right? The entire session, starting from the time when I access using a finger command to a logout command, is documented and audited by the engineering instructor, right? So these are some of the like capabilities in a PaaS framework also, right? Where you consistently log, but you also ensure that the security is in place already, right? By blocking certain sites, security has been put in place, and then there's a consistent logging and audit mechanism. Okay. We already talked about pre-built integrated development environments. All right. All right. Some topics which executives in the IT industry think about before they make IT decisions, right? They look at, in any interview, right? If you're asked about what are the key principles for IT decisions, there are 3 principles. Close your eyes and say that. One is efficiency of IT, because IT is a cost center, right? Innovation and efficiency, improvement of business, because business is a revenue center, right? And how to reduce the overall risk in the organization, right? So these are the three. Always remember how to make money, right? How to cut down your expenses, how to be safe. Just put into what your parents used to tell you, right? As soon as you graduate, when they sent you to college, right? So they said, okay, fine, study well, be safe, don't make bad friends, correct? What they were trying to do was they're trying to reduce the risk. Make money, right? Oh, maybe they started saying don't waste money, right? So they tried to introduce an IT efficiency. And then they said, okay, if there is an opportunity, teach NSS camps or teach junior students and make money, right? Take tuition classes. I know a lot of engineering graduates who go out and take tuition classes for 6 standard students, 7 standard students for maths and physics and all that subjects, right? So what your parents were trying to do is they were trying to make a decision for you, right? And they were teaching you 3 key principles that are also there in IT industry. Always be safe and secure, make money the right way, reduce your expenses, right? Daily life, same thing goes in IT organizations. Make good money, get a good job, don't waste your money, and always reduce the risk around you, okay? So how does PaaS helps in these 3 principles, right? So let's take a look at the first one, which is IT efficiency. And by now, all of you should have kind of got an idea that yes, PaaS helps you provide framework so you can quickly do development, right? If you can quickly do development, you are going to automate a lot more programs because now it takes lesser time to develop something. You're going to standardize the way you deploy because the editor is forcing you to deploy as a zip file or as a ZAR file, right? Or a WAR, right? So you will be able to standardize your deployment. That means, and you will also be able to get compile time errors sooner than later, right? So all this will lead to more development and more innovative development happening in IT industry. And when IT industry innovates, IT developers, IT analysts innovate, that is when you introduce efficiencies of execution, right? So let's go through some of the points here, right? You eliminate and simplify tasks for professional administrator. Your engineering instructor, lab instructor doesn't have to worry. He knows that my X number of sites are blocked. Students cannot watch bad stuff. And anything that students do is logged. And top of it, what PaaS will do is PaaS will also send the administrator an alert whenever you actually try to go to a bad site. Or if you did something wrong, which was objectionable, not captured in the security policy, but was objectionable to the professor, it is logged, and the system, PaaS system, is intelligent to send an alert to the administrator saying that, hey, student number X actually did this. According to our policy, you are not supposed to contact XYZ person, right? But he or she sent an email. So logging, right? So what happens here is the administrator doesn't have to sit and watch the screen all the time, right? So administrator can actually focus on improving the plan for your lab, right? That is do more business-oriented, business innovation stuff, right? Increases IT administrators' productivity, as we said, enables rapid scalability. As we said, during exams, your engineering lab instructor is going to scale up the licenses available for IDKs so that students can practice more, right? Developer speed and quality drives down IT costs, enable self-service provisioning. That's fine. This is self-service provisioning and all are easy concepts you will see when we do the demos. So drive down costs, of course, right? When you have more people able to innovate, ultimately you're going to automate stuff. When you automate stuff, you're definitely bringing down the costs, right? Coding environments enables extreme automation of life cycles, uses common dashboards and tools. Okay, this is interesting. So go to your engineering lab instructor, right? You must have seen their console looks very different from your console, because an admin console lets them see manage passwords, right? Look at security logs, look at your own account, look at possible extensions in the system. What are other innovations or patents logged by library or catalog of the patents logged by the students? So their console has many different features which are not available to a developer, right? So able to customize the developer tools versus an admin tools is an inbuilt capability of PaaS application, okay? Reduces number of technology suppliers and integrates with IS. So on the technology suppliers, I want to take 1 minute here. So we talked about development environments a lot. Let's talk about middleware integrations a bit now, okay? So two heterogeneous systems, a Salesforce system trying to connect to a Workday system. You understand a Salesforce, we have talked so much, I hope you have done some homework on going and trying to search on Salesforce. Salesforce is a CRM system, right? A CRM is a customer relationship management system where when you call up, when you have a problem, right? You call Airtel, for example, the phone is not working. You call Airtel. Your call is logged into a CRM system like Salesforce, right? That's why you will sometimes get a message, your calls are being logged for training and blah, blah purposes, right? Even if you don't want it, they will still record your call, right? Even if it looks like they're taking your permission, but they're still recording your calls. They're informing you, hey, you want to talk to us? Your calls are going to be recorded. Why? Because it's being managed by a CRM system, right? And your call log will be used for training purposes, right? So to improve the efficiency of a system, right? Now Salesforce, and I had a Workday system. Now Workday is a human resource management system. It's a HCM system. A CRM system wants to talk to HCM system via a connector, okay, via an adapter, which are pre-built or pre-packaged and available in a PaaS application. And some very good examples of adapters are Oracle PaaS adapters. So Oracle Integration Cloud Services, right? IDCS is what they were called earlier. Now we call them OIC services, right? Oracle Integration Cloud is one of the few clouds available in the market which provides you adapter for Salesforce, for Oracle, for any almost lots of technologies, such that what you have to do is you have to configure the adapter with an input and an output. And the two systems you will see start talking to each other. Okay, so that's how the adapters work. So adapter, what will it do is a Salesforce system is identified, say, by a employee key, right? The key is employee number, and the HCM system is also run by an employee number, right? So it will link the two on an employee number and make a determination of employee A received 10 calls this week, and all the 10 calls give 5 stars in the reviews. So employee 1 is eligible for this week's compensation bonus, commission bonus. Okay, so things like this. So IT analysts are able to make intelligent decisions based on availability of connections or data flow between two heterogeneous systems. What will eventually happen is, if you have multiple small applications, you can cut down those applications by standardizing them into one single supplier, one single vendor. Even though it doesn't do a vendor lock-in, that is, doesn't restrict you to one single vendor, you can still reduce the number of vendors that you have in your IT ecosystem, right? And always having less, not zero, less, a few manageable vendors is the best IT strategy. Okay, and PaaS plays a very, very important role in it, because if you cannot make two heterogeneous systems talk, there's no point in having two heterogeneous systems. You rather make one single system. Okay. Next. So what did we do so far is we cut down our expenses. Now let's take a look at how can we make more money, right? Now PaaS will drive top and bottom line results by allowing IT to be more responsive to business opportunities, right? How do you make more money? You as students can make more money, right, by taking tuition classes, right, where you teach, you are the tutor, right? Some of you might also be logging into Upwork, freelancing sites, right, to develop projects for people who need it, right? That is, you're also able to carve out time to make more money, right? So now amplify these into a business organization world. In a business organization, in a real world, business has certain requirements. Say they're running an AP cycle. AP is what? A payable cycle, right? And they have to be able to, we talked about ledger last session, right? How they have to close their ledger and books every month. Same thing here. Now, if they are trying to close their ledger every month, what they have to do is they have to perform certain activities, right? What I do every month is I look at my expenses, I look at my revenue, match the two, say, okay, fine. I'm able to close my books now. January is closed, July is closed. I'll take a look at December now, right? So I'm closing my quarters. So now how can I make this process quicker? I can make this process quicker if instead of using a pen and a paper to record my books, I use a system like QuickBooks, right? QuickBooks is a software that lets you enter every entry of expense and every entry of charge, tie it to a cost account or a revenue account, and then you tie the two together to see whether your ledger balance is equal or not at the end of the month, right? So who developed QuickBooks? Who will integrate QuickBooks? Who will install QuickBooks? It's IT, right? You're able to cater to the needs of business quickly. That is how PaaS supports you, right? That's how PaaS supports you, correct? So you're able to develop applications faster. So anytime business calls you, hey, you know what, I don't like this in the report. Can you change it because this will help me present the data better to a CEO? Sure, right? Because you have a standardized framework,
Rama,
APIs written.
Rama,
Yes.
I would like you to explain them when you say business. I don't think so they are understanding what is business. When you say like business says you like change the report. So you just tell them like business and SLAs and other stuff also.
Sure, certainly. So business innovation, right? So business is your client. In an IT ecosystem, what happens is there are different departments. For example, when you go for your interviews, you will go through an HR department. When they come for campus placements, there'll be 5-6 people who will come. There'll be one person who will do the presentation, wherein they will tell about their company. What is so good about Dell Technologies, right? For example, when I started my career, I started with Dell Technologies as a campus recruit, right? So they came to our college and there was an HR and 5 people who came. So HR is one department, and then there's a technology department, and third is a marketing department. The marketing department person did a presentation of telling how good Dell is and why I should join Dell, right? And then there's a technology department head who came, who said, this is all that you will have to work. Be prepared for it, right? An HR person was there who said, this is how you have to behave, and this is what I will pay you, right? So technology person was the IT department, HR, marketing are all business departments, okay? So now in HR, let's take an example of PaaS supporting HR. Now HR uses a system, any application, say they come to your college and they say, okay, fine, I went to KDK and I registered 20 students for the interview. I selected 20 students for the interview. Now out of these, I'm going to give 5 offer letters because they're very good. Now imagine they're doing this for 10 colleges. Imagine now they're doing it for 100 colleges. How can that piece of paper and pen work? So what they have to do is they will go to their technology department head saying, hey, Mr. Technology Head, I need you to build me an application where I can put the name of the college, the number of students who appeared in the written test, number of students who cleared the written test, number of students whom we have given offer letters, right? And their scores in each. So what is IT doing here? IT is developing a business specific application for HR department. And that is how they are making HR department more productive, right? Now what HR departments do, they go to KDK, they just put KDK, tuck, 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 20 students, this is the marks, 5 given offer letter, these are the salaries, accepted offer, done, right? Then they go to IIT Madras, they say, okay, fine, 50 students appeared, selected 20, done. Then they go to Pitts Pilani, okay, 50 appeared, 20 selected, done, right? So at the end of the campus recruitment session, the HR department will sit together and analyze the data. This is where data analytics is very important, right? They will sit back and analyze the data. How many students scored above 80% in the written test? How many students got above above 4 stars in our interview? Okay, so students from IIT scored higher than students from BITS Pilani and KDK. Maybe next time we should go to IIT and pick 5 students more from IIT, right? But at the same time, students from BITS Pilani asked for more money than students from KDK. Not a good idea. We should actually go to KDK because they ask less money and they're scoring almost the same as BITS Pilani, right? So these are the kind of decisions that HR department is going to take, correct? And this is how they do salary corrections and stuff like that in the industry, okay? So that is the meaning of business. So what IT did is IT gave them an ability, a tool to use. The tool is a SaaS application where it is installed and developed and created is a PaaS application. On what it is hosted, your data center is an IaaS application. Okay, so this is how the 3 models work in this example. Okay, please read through these slides when you get the slides. So the PaaS applications will help you increase revenue, right? That's how we came here. We wanted to make more money, right? And use and improve productivity of the business users. That is your clients. Okay. Let's go to the next, reduce risk. Anytime you try to go out for an evening movie, your parents, whether you're old or young, will say, don't stay out very late, don't drink and drive, come back fine, come back before 10 o'clock, don't use public transport, have your friend drop you. What are they trying to do? They're trying to reduce the chances of a problem, right? Of a bad incident. So they're trying to reduce the risk to you and your life, right? So PaaS applications does the same. So PaaS applications strengthen and simplify the security, right? And speeds up the response to any existing or evolving threats from heterogeneous IT components. Remember engineering lab? Your teacher, once your teacher identifies from the log that everybody is going and watching Hrithik Roshan's movie over the weekends, what he's going to do is he's going to analyze the log, he's going to block that website, right? Being able to make a decision, right? Enabling administrators to make a decision based on the security policies and the rules set up in the system is a big contributing factor and a deciding factor for selecting PaaS solutions. So PaaS solutions will make your systems more resilient. That is, even if there's a Trojan horse attack, your system is still able to cope with it because of the security policies embedded in the PaaS, okay? So your applications are becoming more resilient, right? And the downtime is reducing by the use of 2 UPS, okay? You're able to recover from a problem by having another disaster recovery site. See, all these terms are all connected, correct? So reduces the security risks, threats, provides high availability, 2 UPS, right? Rapid recovery, automatic patch management is automatic updates. You are transparent to it because your admin does it. Okay. Employs a zero trust resource access model. I want to spend 1 minute here. Zero trust resource access model. Classic example is any of the bank websites in India. They just don't trust anybody, but they still get hacked. I don't know how. Go to icicibank.com. My God, even if you know your username and password, you can't log in. It will say sending an OTP sent to a mobile number, which was an old mobile number. So now you have to go to the bank. They will ask you to do the entire KYC again and then re-register the mobile number, and then you can log in into your application. This is an example of a zero trust policy. Do not trust anybody, right? Build the trust into the security policies. So if the security policy says, yes, the password is correct, but the OTP is not entered, I'm not going to let you log in, right? So another concept that has evolved out of zero trust resource access model is MFAs, right? Multi-factor authentication. You must have heard of two-factor authentication, multi-factor authentication, wherein, for example, for this computer, when I log in into IE, one, I log in into the machine, correct? All of you. Then when I log in into the browser, it asks me for a password. And it says password or the PIN sent to your cell phone is a text message. It is an example of a multi-factor or a two-factor authentication. You must have heard for VPN networks. If not, in our PaaS, in our IS demos, we look at VPNs, right? Anybody who knows VPN's full form can type it in the chat message. But in a VPN environment, you are secured by a multi-factor authentication within the VPN. So when you log in into the computer, then you log in with the VPN. Then if you have to go to RDP, right? If anybody knows the full form of RDP, please chat it. If you have to go into RDP, then you enter the RDP password. And after that, if you have to access an application, it sends a text message. Imagine the layers of protection, right? So all those are based on zero trust resource access model. So all these features can be enabled in a PaaS framework, right? And you can maintain all these keys, your passwords in a single vault. So that's how you unify the identity and security management. You will understand that when we see a demo of how vaults are managed. Okay. Another concept that Abhishek asked me to talk to you is SLAs. We are falling short of time today. I'll try to finish in the next 10 minutes. SLAs, service level agreements, right? So service level agreement is an ability to complete something in time. All of you have service level agreements right from the day you are born, right? Your mom gives you an SLA. Finish the milk in 1 minute. Otherwise, you're not getting Horlicks milk next time. SLA. Your teacher gives you an assignment. Finish the homework by tomorrow. Otherwise, you're not coming to the class. SLA of 1 day, right? You come to the college, your assignments. If you do not finish your assignment this semester, you're not promoted to the next semester, right? I don't know, what is it called? You fail or you get supplementals or whatever, right? So SLA, the overarching SLA in which you're living right now is 4 years, you have to complete your degree, SLA, right? So look at, all of us are bound by SLA in our day-to-day life. Then do you think big organizations will not have SLA for operations? They will have, because they are all into profit making, right? So time checking, just the way I did right now, that, you know, there are 5 minutes left of session. And my service level agreement to you is that I will teach you for 1 hour, right? That is my commitment done to KDK management, that I will teach you for an hour. So I have to meet my SLA, correct? I can exceed my SLA, but I cannot fall short of my SLA, right? You can finish your course in 3.5 years and do 6 months internship. But if you take 6 months extra to finish your course, you have to pay more for it, right? And also listen to all the yellings of your teachers, right? So SLAs is something which is very important to be met. Somebody in the chat can chat the full form of SLA. It's a service level agreement. So in big organizations, it is very important to be able to meet the agreements or the timelines committed to a client. Otherwise, there is a financial implication. Okay, otherwise there's a financial implication. A company can sue another company if SLAs are not met. Okay, so PaaS, whenever you simplify something, whenever you cut down your costs, you increase your revenue, you reduce your risk, you always march towards a high SLA, correct? If you study every day, right? If you do your practice assignments every day in time, right? If you're not wasting your money in going to a movie during your study time, what you are doing is you are trying to look at all the principles of IT execution of an organization running operation, and hence marching towards completing your degree in 4 years. That is meeting your SLA. Okay. So these are the 3 key principles against which any application runs, right? Any framework runs. So IT efficiency, business innovation, and risk reduction. Okay. How to select PaaS? By now you should know the slide, so I'm going to really rush through. A SaaS which is able to extend applications, you're able to develop modern applications, able to connect multiple applications, able to deploy in a standardized manner, able to analyze the data, able to secure the applications, able to integrate multiple applications, able to monitor the logs, right? All these are the criteria to select a good PaaS applications or PaaS framework. Okay. On this slide, one term that is new for you is Cloud Access Security Broker. It is related to the CASB solution, which is related to your security management and identity management. Okay, so being able to secure your applications. It is one of the services provided by Oracle and some other vendors, which is called CASB. Okay. You all understand this by now, supporting multiple cloud portability. We talked about vendor login a little, but really quick, I'm going to touch upon unify controls across your IT portfolio. What is IT portfolio? In an IT organization, right, there are multiple departments within an IT organization. There's a project management, there's a data governance, there's an infrastructure, there's an information management, there's a data analytics, enterprise applications, financial systems. All these are departments within an IT department. So they are called divisions or work streams. All these work streams put together is called an IT portfolio of services. Okay, if you're able to unify the systems that all these portfolio of services uses, you are standardizing and make it easy for people to use those applications. So for example, if everybody in the company starts using that hiring tool, right, which your HR was using, what will happen is everybody will be able to refer a student. Say, I know somebody from KDK, I'm going to recommend in that tool, right? So it will enhance that tool to add recommendations. Recommended KDK, Aniruddha, go and talk, right? So contact information is this. Or Harshad, KDK, do this, right? Or Dipali, KDK, do this. Harshad, JL Bajaj, do this. So I am giving my recommendations. So what is happening now? This is becoming a catalog for HR. Now HR, if they go to GL Bajaj, hey, one of the employees seems to have recommended a student. Maybe they have good students. Let's go ahead and talk to Harshad, right? Things like this. So you are able to introduce more efficiencies on your organization if you standardize the applications used across the entire IT portfolio. Okay. You can read through this, supporting multiple cloud portability. We already talked about, right? You can use open source systems, your Java development frameworks, SQL developers to pull data from the databases and add more details. So I want to request Abhishek if he has anything to add about PaaS, because then I'll go into the slides for GotoFastLane.
Okay. So mainly I have got a couple of questions which we like to take right now. So one of them is like,
we can take the questions a little later, Abhishek.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the content for platform as a service. Let's go to next slides, which is about how do you contact us. So we've got some offline questions, and I want to remind all of you on how to contact us, right, and register for the events. So please go to our website and go to LinkedIn. I'm going to quickly show it to all of you. So go to your browser, go to your LinkedIn account, right? Go to your personal LinkedIn account and see, you will get updates like this from us, right? Which is some very enlightening. So go to the second one, which is GotoFastLane. This is also our page, but not used very frequently, not updated very frequently. Go to fastlane.ca, right? And over here, you can see the events that we host. Okay, so go to events and you can see the events and also get the Zoom links from these. Okay. Also, there will be a button over here, which will call as following or a follow, right? Please go ahead and follow the link so that you can go ahead and follow us and get updates from our website. Okay, let's see. Yeah, just click this follow here. Okay. You can also go to our website, right? And we also post some content on our website, which is also linked to our WordPress blog. Okay. You will also get to know of any job opportunities or internship opportunities that we have out there currently. Okay. Another place where you want to go is subscribe and like our videos on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube, search for GoToFastLane. This is the channel for GoToFastLane. Please go in there and click subscribe. Again, you don't see it because you see a different screen because I'm the admin for the system, but you will have the videos posted here. As you can see, videos have been pretty well liked by the audience. So please go ahead and give your comments, give your feedback. I always answer to all the questions. If I cannot answer, Abhishek answers the questions. So we play in tandem to be able to help and answer your questions with the idea that you are able to perform well in your interviews when the time comes. Okay. We also have a WhatsApp group to which also you can join. It's managed by Abhishek, so he can help you guide through that process as well. Okay. I always offer the students who attend my sessions to go ahead and use the title of Associate Technical Ambassador, right? Associate Technical Ambassador in case it helps you in your sessions. Okay. So, and the steps to do that are available in this presentation. I can also show you really quickly without taking a lot of time. If you go to your profile of LinkedIn, click here on your name, it will take you to a profile, right? Come down to the experience section. You might not have anything, right? But you obviously see myself and my clients. But if you click on this plus here, you have to write Associate Technical Ambassador. Right? What it will do is it will help you get connected to my contacts. And if you know somebody, you can always tell me and I can help you get connected to them, right? Just type it will automatically come up as a registered company in Canada, right? And you can put your location. You can say, I am working here since January or it's August, right? And you can put whatever comments you want and click a save. Once you save, it will come up on your screen as associated with GoToFastLane, right? Just the way I get it here, you will also get it here, right? And once you get this linkage done with GoToFastLane, what additionally will happen to you is that you will also be able to get a link or your name posted on GoToFastLane website. Okay, so if you go to Fastlane LinkedIn page, you will see there are 5 people who have called themselves as technical ambassadors, or maybe 8 people, right? And what I do is, in case they need some help, like Purnima, Harshit, so when they contacted me for some help on their project, so I was able to get some help from a friend who works on mobile apps, for example. Right? So it just helps you start building a professional network at a time when people are not even thinking about it. Okay, so please go ahead and follow us on GoToFastLane, right? Also go ahead and like our YouTube, you will get some links there. We are also present on Twitter and other social media platforms. So if you want, if there's anyone preferred, please go ahead and follow us on those social media channels. Okay. Let's see if there are any other slides that I want to cover. What's up? Yeah, I can take any questions, Abhishek, now.
So the first question is like, Edward asked, like, can you give us the example of business? I think it's still they are not getting. We need to take the example of some, like, grocery store or retail store, how the business works with the IT, where they exactly fit in. Means like being as a developers, how they can work IT and they are not able to understand how the IT infrastructure works.
Okay. So what we'll do is I'll get you an org chart. Let me make a note of that. So I'm going to show you an organization chart of a typical company, right? Say an Accenture or an Oracle, and then you can understand what the business is. But for now, understand business is nothing but a client, right? Your customers. So you go to a retail store, right? You go to buy chocolates. You go to a local mom and pop store. So for them, you are business, you are a customer, right? Anybody whom you help by giving chocolates and return you get paid by money is a business. The term business is used very loosely here to represent the whole community, which represents customers, right? But essentially, since there's a business transaction happening between IT, who is developing a system, and users who are consuming the application, is when you tie the two together and call it a business users. So another example, everything is a business user example, right? Give an example of HR, marketing department, right? Business user, real estate, right? My favorite real estate examples. Now you're trying to buy a house. What you do is you have a website where all the houses are posted, right? Now there's a website in Canada where all the houses which are available to sell are posted. So it's an IT application developed by an IT user. Now I am a home buyer. I log in with the application and click on a particular link and give money to that website for clicking the link, right? So I am a business generating business partner for IT of that website, right? So anybody who generates revenue, right, or enables a business transaction is a business user. So think of it very simply as a customer. Business is nothing but a customer.
Okay. Another one is like difference between IaaS and property PaaS. So basically, the most distinct difference between IaaS and PaaS is that IaaS offers administrators more, direct control over your operating system, but PaaS offers users greater flexibility and ease of operation. So that is the basic difference between PaaS and IaaS. In case of infrastructure as a service, you get better control on your operating system. But in case of PaaS, you just develop the application and you are not worried about the infrastructure part, which will be managed by the vendor. So these are the two questions I think I got, and we are already run over by 5 or 6 minutes. So over to you, Kamal. I think.
Okay. If there anybody has any other questions?
No, I think done.
Yes, somebody has raised their hand by the name OPPO A5s. Yes, please. I just unmuted you. If you can ask your question.
I think
Okay.
by mistakenly it has been done.
Okay, no problem. If there are no questions, then thank you so much.
We can close it off.
Yeah, if there are no other questions, thank you so much for your time.
Mm-hmm.
See you next week.
Thank you.